Well, good evening. Thank you so much for coming out. For those on the live stream and those in person, thank you so much. If you don't know me, my name is Michael Wijaya. If you didn't know me, well, now you do. So, what I just played for you was Barat's Andante et Scherzo. Just a little couple of facts about him. He studied at the Paris Conservatory. And another fun fact, or not so fun fact, he twice failed the exam for the director of music for the Republican Garred, which is the top military group in France. But he made history by creating a school for assistant band directors. So he ended up becoming an assistant band director, teaching other assistant band directors, and then he himself became the main band director for the Republican Garred. I just think that's interesting. Just me. Okay, cool. All right, next up we're gonna play Sonata for trumpet and piano. And I just thought I wanted to explain a little bit about a sonata, because like when I think of a sonata, and many people think of a sonata, I think of the car, you know, I don't think of music. I think of the Hyundai Sonata, right, on the road. No one's laughing. Oh, I thought it was funny, but I should probably stop talking at some point. But I wanted to explain what a sonata is and actually give you a close-up view of what we're gonna play for you guys, so then you can understand it and then hopefully enjoy the music more. So in a sonata, there are three main sections in a sonata. There's an exposition. So just like a story, an exposition tells you what the characters are. So in exposition in a story, it tells you maybe the protagonist and the antagonist. And in sonata form, I forgot to say, sonata form was the, how do I put this? A very popular form back in the 1800s and the 1900s. Today, a form that's very popular is verse-chorus form. You know, if you sing Sweet Caroline, I don't even know the first verse, but I can sing Sweet Caroline. Everyone knows that, right? Am I right? What's the first words even? Where it began or something? Yeah, whatever. But sonata form was the form. Every composer was using it. And so exposition gives us two characters, and these characters are usually in different keys and in different tempos. So I want to introduce you to the two characters of this piece by Halsey Stevens. Here's the first character. It kind of reminds me of a little kid running through a field. Yeah. Yeah, like a little kid running through the field. The thing about sonata form, though, is that someone wins. So here's the second theme, and hopefully by the end of this, you'll find out who wins. The second theme reminds me of an older person. So little kid, an older person who's a little bit older, and he's like on a canoe on a lake, you know, like there's no currents or whatever, and he's just having a good time. Here's the second theme. So, like I said, there's two other sections, so there's three sections. Exposition, we get introduced to the characters, these two characters, theme one and theme two. And then the development, as it sounds, it develops these characters. We find out more about them. We find out, oh, who married who, and so on and so forth. Like, we find out the details about these characters. But then we have something at the end, so we have, I'm making sure, exposition, development, and recapitulation. That's the final one. Recap. We're just going to call it recap. It's just fancy recapitulation. It's like college speak, right? But the recap recaps the two characters, but one character wins. And in this, I hope you can hear which character wins, and you can usually tell by what key it's in. So usually one of the two themes are going to change keys to the other theme, and that's how the first theme or second theme wins. In other words, we're just going to have a good time, and we're going to find out. You'll find out. So here is Sonata for trumpet and piano. This is a duet, and I'm very excited to play this for you. Here's the first movement. So now, and this is not a joke, you now understand 90% of classical music. When you listen to classical music, you'll always hear those two themes, not these two themes, but you'll always hear some two themes come up, and they always come back at the end. So if you're listening to a 40-minute piece, you know when the end is near, when you hear another theme come back. It's 90% of classical music, I promise you. I promise you, seriously. It's great to listen to classical music when you understand it. The same way that we understand verse and chorus form. We know when we hear a bridge, it's like, oh, it's almost over, right? Same thing with classical music. So I hope if you have any more questions, just talk to me. I love to talk. As you can tell right now, I need to play some more. Next piece, actually, I am not playing for you. I'm actually going to sing this piece. This is an art song written by Roger Quilter at the turn of the 20th century, so right there. And this is one of Quilter's early pieces, actually. So it's basically youth personified. You really get to hear that in the piece. And the music is set to a poem by Alfred Tennyson, if you know that poet, sorry, my apologies. Great poet that talks a lot about nature and such. And before I sing it, I would love to recite it for you. And then we'll do the piece, and then we'll have intermission. So thank you again for coming. And here is Now Sleeps the Crimson Petal. Now sleeps the crimson petal, now the white, nor waves the cypress in the palace walk, nor winks the goldfin in the palfrey font. The firefly wakens, waken thou with me. Now folds the lily in all her sweetness up, and slips into the bosom of the lake. So fold thyself, my dearest, thou, and slip into my bosom, and be lost in me. thank you so much for staying for the second half. This second half is just going to be a blast. And I am very excited to be premiering my friend's piece. As you can see in the program, you now have the title. I kind of tried to keep it a secret from a lot of people, but there's the title, I Will Waltz. And so I just want to talk a little bit about my friend Ram, wonderful human being. I met him in choir at school in Connecticut, and he was section leader for the tenors, and he's such a kind soul, such a warm human being. He just graduated with his bachelor's of music in composition, so he writes for a living, and he sings professionally for a living, and he sings at a lot of churches over there, and sings in the professional choirs in the area as well. Like I said, just a wonderful human being. And so I asked him a couple of months back if he could write me a piece. And he said, oh, sure, I'll gift it to you. And that meant a lot because we had a friendship for 2 years, and we hung up a lot. And so he's like, do you have any ideas for this piece? I'm like, so I had some ideas. I'm like, well, composers love to write about water. If you know about classical music, there's water music by Handel and so on and so forth. Everyone loves writing about rivers and lakes and stuff. But after a while, after listening to more of his pieces live, because he was able to premiere one of his pieces in the choir concert, he wrote a Baroque dance. And I'm like, can you write me a dance? Like, I think that would be it. And he's like, heck yeah. So a couple of days ago, I think, 2 days ago, he gave me the final draft. And I'm so excited to premiere it to you today. Here is I Will Waltz by Ram Tysoe. So the next piece on the program, I don't think a lot of people know this piece. It's called Amazing Grace, and let me tell you, it's a great piece. But when I think, by the way, I have notes so I don't talk too much, and I have not been doing a good job. So I usually go off the cuff, so I'm actually gonna go off the cuff, so hopefully I don't talk too much, but I'm probably gonna talk more. When I think of the title of Amazing Grace, I have nothing else to think about except the compassion and love of our God to send his only son to die on the cross, to forgive all sins for all who believe in him from past, present, and future. And I was reflecting on Mother's Day because mothers out there, when they have children, or if they are yearning to have children, the thought of sending your only child to die for other people's wrongdoings is something that just really, that's something that I think about as a Christian every single day. Is like, who would do such a thing? And our God does that. And so this amazing arrangement by Kevin McKee, I think showcases just that love and compassion that our God has for us. And furthermore, it makes me try to have the same grace, the same amazing grace for others. And I try that every single day, but really our God is pretty good at it. He is really good at it. So with me on stage is a prolific and amazing piano player. Would you please welcome Josiah Vos? So without further ado, here is a wonderful arrangement of Amazing Grace. Can you believe it? We made it to the final piece. Yay! So before I play this last piece, I do have a couple of thank yous to give. The first one is thank you so much, Elevate Community Church, for letting me use this beautiful space. This was built in 2009, 2008, and they had no plan at all for it to be this lively of a space, and yet it is. Like, it's not built like a cathedral, but it just has this liveliness that I love playing in. And with that, I thank Pastor Josh, who's in the audience, for letting me use the space and just for being a great person to talk to. And I love talking, so you'll find that out afterwards. You can talk to me more later. Or, yeah, anyways. I also want to thank Chad, who's running lights for me, and the sound. So thank you so much, Chad, for just coming down and being patient with me with these lights and this beautiful background that we have here. Isn't that great? I just love this background. I also want to thank my parents, Tracy and Sasta Rijaya. Without them and without their idea that music education is important, I wouldn't be here. I straight up wouldn't be. They paid for my piano lessons when I started at 4, and that just put me on a trajectory. And they cared so much about that, they were willing to pay the $18 every single week for me to have piano lessons, which I hope to pay back to them with gratitude and thanks. So thank you so much. I also want to thank my siblings. Thank you to them that are here. I have 6 siblings, but Joanna, Mikkel, Martha, and Abigail for making the yummy spring rolls, egg rolls that you're about to have, and just for being great people to talk to. Again, I love talking. You might have saw it in my my bio. I have very long conversations on the phone. It can get up to 2 hours. Maybe more than that, right? Yeah. Really long conversations. So thank you. And of course, and I know he's on the live stream, I really thank my trumpet professor at the Hart School, Phil Snedeker, for giving me the tools and abilities to play trumpet. I hope it sounds easy, but sometimes it's not. But I thank you so much for that on the live stream. I really do appreciate it. And lastly, to all of you guys, I thank you for coming out and supporting live music. Live music is so much fun, and you get to be a part of it, which is always a blast for us musicians. I do hope that if you do have a little bit to spare, that you can help donate some money for me to help buy my airplane tickets and my ferry tickets. I know there's ferries up in Canada. I didn't know that. Actually, I did know that, but I didn't know that was part of the cost. But I got to take a ferry. That's cool. And train tickets. I'm going to take the train to Chicago from Omaha. So it's the cheapest option. I do have all of my budget on the GoFundMe page. But you can give in person as well today. So if you're wondering where that money's going to, it's completely, not opaque, it's the opposite of opaque. It's completely transparent, so you can see where that money's going to. So I really do appreciate you guys for coming. And if you came and you just wanted the free egg rolls, please just do that, please. We have a lot of egg rolls, and a lot of my siblings are like, they better eat all of them, so we better run out. So, lastly, let me talk about this last piece. This last piece is Manhattan by Philip Sparke. You can read that. Why am I saying it? But yes, it's Manhattan. And I just have such fun in New York City. You get to meet so many different people from so many different backgrounds, and you get to see performances all the time. And it's a blessing that I live 2 hours away from New York City. And so I travel there a lot, and I love seeing my friends out there who are at Juilliard and MSM who are just having a great time. And I love, when I met them at Tanglewood, this is now 3 years ago, they're amazing human beings to be around. So I might have slept in a Juilliard dorm on the floor, but it's just great. It's wonderful to be around those people. But Manhattan, so it is 2 movements, and you're more than happy to clap in between movements. You can talk to me afterwards if you want to know why I think that way. I think you should clap whenever the heck you want to. Seriously, this idea of not clapping for 2 hours, are you kidding me? People need to twiddle their thumbs, So, and that's also how Mozart wanted it too. You can talk to me afterwards. That's how classical music was supposed to be, and then people were like, no, they can't clap in between. Talk to me afterwards. Please clap. And again, like I said, please feel free to stick around afterwards to talk to me, to eat some delicious food, and just to have a good time. I hope that you stay for the hang. So this is Manhattan, and thank you so much again for coming. Thank you. There is one more piece, actually. I lied. I'm sorry. I would like to invite to the stage my sister, Abigail Wijaya. Can you please come on up? We just have one more for you. And if Chad, if you could just let the lights up a bit. Oh, this is like a child. I love it. Danke. Okay. This last piece. So my father isn't here today because he's having some health problems with breathing right now. So he decided not to come, which is completely fine. I think he's on the live stream. Hi, Dad. And so this piece was actually an encore for somebody else's recital. So hi, Hannah. I know you're on here. It's nice to see you. She's a master's student who, not anymore. She got her master's already in trumpet. And this piece meant a lot to me because my father's still here today, but her father's no longer with her. And so this piece isn't to be like, oh, like that type of thing. Hope that made sense. That didn't make sense in my head. This is me celebrating the fact that he wanted to be a professional musician. He ended up not becoming one, but I have the chance and the capability to become one. And one of the first movies I ever saw as a child, in fact, I don't even remember when I started watching it, was The Sound of Music. And there's a beautiful song in The Sound of Music, and we're just gonna play and sing that for you now. Happy to greet me, blossom of snow, may you bloom and grow, bloom and grow forever. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, bless my homeland forever. Again, thank you so much for coming, and enjoy some delicious egg rolls. Go ahead. Thank you so much.